Yo, what's good, everybody? My name is Cosmic, and I want to welcome you to my channel, Opinion Stated, where I give unfiltered, opinionated sports takes. Let's go. Yo, what's good, everybody? My name is Cosmic. I want to welcome you back to my channel, Opinion Stated. I have been away for about a week or so working on this episode in particular, and I have what is soon to be one of my favorite episodes playing for you guys today. If you've already seen the thumbnail, then you know exactly what direction I'm headed into. Before I dive deep into this content, though, do me a huge favor. Like the video. Liking the video helps us cruise along algorithm avenue, helps us get into the presence of individuals just like yourself who might be interested in this kind of content. Also, subscribe to the channel. Subscribing to the channel and clicking that notification bell keeps you in the know as to when my newest episodes are uploaded. Man, without further ado, I'm entitling today's episode, GOAT, Grifting Onto Another Team. And as you can see, LeBron James is all over this thumbnail. There have been an innumerable amount of conversations surrounding LeBron James and whether he's the GOAT or, making a case for him being the GOAT. What I am not here to do today is to refute or to solidify that he is the greatest basketball player of all time, because, that's not the basis of this particular episode. However, I want to talk about and get into this element of grifting. And if you are unfamiliar with the word grifting, I'm going to get into a definition, a legal definition, and then a definition from the Oxford Dictionary. Just to give you an idea, I am going to present a case as to how LeBron James, as a grifter in the NBA, has tarnished his overall legacy and has left a stain on his overall basketball career that he could have prevented by making different decisions. And so, again, I'm going to dive right into this content. I want to start with that definition, like I said, from the NAV law firm. And it simply asks the question, what is grifting? Grifting refers to the act of deceiving or manipulating others for financial or personal gain. Unlike straightforward theft or robbery, grifting typically involves fraudulent schemes, false promises, and exploiting trust. So, again, I'm of the common belief, man, that, as LeBron James gets credit for being the or kind of spearheading this player empowerment era that we find ourselves in, where players were able to call their shots, their own shots, control where they went, how much money they made when they did so, unlike previous eras of basketball where players were just kind of, getting in where they fit in, or, sticking in with one solid team throughout their entire career, etc. LeBron James has played the game. And by him leading the way in playing the game, he showed other players or empowered them, to play the game as well. And so because of that, that has had all kinds of effects on people's perception of LeBron James, the rhetoric that people use as they talk about him, how people frame thoughts about him, and the actions of jumping and grifting from one team to the next, swindling his way, in my opinion, as I get into the Oxford definition here, his way onto other teams. In accordance with the Oxford Language Dictionary, the definition of grift is to engage in a petty or small-scale swindling. And then I have highlighted here, you can scroll in a little bit if you need to see it. It's a perfect question, I feel like, as they pose the question using the word in a sentence. How long have you been grifting is the question that they ask on the graphic there. And so that, begs the question, like, how long has LeBron James been grifting? And so what I won't suggest is that LeBron James has somehow been grifting since he initially arrived in the NBA to his fault or by his doing. But unfortunately, he is beneficiary of a mysterious ping pong ball falling away of Cleveland, Ohio, for the Cleveland Cavaliers when LeBron James was going to be in this draft, and he's a hometown kid. So for a small market, especially, it would mean, just what he was already doing as a high school basketball player in terms of packing out games, etc., in the state of Ohio, only made sense that that would translate over into millions. I mean, UGOBs, and sure, in every city, he would have brought out some people, but nothing like he'd be able to bring out people in his home state where he was already a phenom. And so, well, small scale swindling was done there, or maybe major scale swindling because of, the business implications of the millions. And for before some say,
We're in this business and you're like, what do you like? Like, you don't understand business. This is why you're making these tricks.
it's like, I totally understand business. I run a couple companies myself. I get it. I'm just saying the situation played out in reality the way that it played out. And so, again, what I won't suggest is that, he didn't walk into this situation in Cleveland, however, as the darling of obviously the franchise, much to the chagrin of the Ricky Davises, the Darius Mileses, etc., who were there. Like they were like,
Well, this kid,
you know what I mean? Like he came in and he was that guy early and beloved in the state of Ohio, beloved in the city of Cleveland. And so LeBron James, quite frankly, like I said, was a darling. He was a media darling and everything else. But let's take a look at, his career and kind of, how his career has played out from a timeline perspective. And, obviously it started out in Cleveland and then it, translated over into, later years, Miami, and then back to Cleveland and then into LA. And so I'm going to talk specifically about each of these stops and what happened along the way. I'm going to give some flowers. I'm going to give some credit where it's due. I'm going to talk about his personal accolades. I'm going to talk about his team accolades. But I like to kind of think about this timeline as broken down into quarters, right? Since we're talking about sports, 4 quarters to be exact, since he had 4 different stops. So it's almost like his career is at a first, second, third, and now present day a 4th quarter. He might be trying to force some overtime right now, but we'll get into that here in just a second. And so the first thing I want to talk about is in quarter 1, this first stint in Cleveland, the chosen one. Like I said, LeBron James, man, was riding this cloud of fanfare and this wave of excitement that, quite frankly, we had never seen before as basketball fans for a phenom coming into the league, especially a high school player. And so, as presently in people's brains and coming out of people's mouths, they talk about LeBron James. I'll always like to say, like, you know what I mean? If you don't want to go back and kind of rewrite history and try to create some narrative that's not true about LeBron. And so as people say, you just don't like LeBron, you're a LeBron hater, what have you, like, it was impossible to hate this kid coming out of high school. It was impossible to hate this kid. There was no reason to hate him unless you were just staunchly opposed to Cleveland Cavaliers and you fan in that way. So you're not going to root for anybody, regardless of who it is in a Cleveland uniform. But as a sports fan, it's like everybody was flying his kid's flag. We were all hopeful of seeing how he developed as a basketball player and what he could ultimately do in his career. We were actually used to charting the career courses of players through observation and celebrating their triumphs as much as we live with them through their failures. So, if that doesn't give credence to the fact that, you know what I mean, like there aren't as many LeBron James haters or people that wanted to see him fail as maybe even I've heard out of his mouth in recent years to be true. You know what I mean? Like LeBron was a media darling back then. He was, just heavily touted and respected and praised by everybody, especially coming out of high school to be able to hold his own on the NBA level. And so he was drafted number 1 overall by the Cleveland Cavaliers, as I said, back in the 2003 draft. And let's talk about how he held his own. So over the 7-year career, he would play with the Cleveland Cavaliers from 2003 through the 2010 seasons. And, he would put up fairly decent numbers, I'll say, you know what I mean? Like statistically. And so, phenomenal numbers, quite frankly, over the 7 years. But as I get into this thing with the stats, I do want to make sure that I state, as I so often do throughout, these episodes, stats without, stats can be very telling, but stats without context can be misleading. And so I don't think that there's really anything that I could say about these stats. I'll let the stats speak for themselves. And the misleading portion might be in the results that the stats yielded which we'll get into here in just a second as well. But 27.8 points a game, as you can see in the graphic here on screen. LeBron James average 7 rebounds, 7 assists, almost a blocks, 0.9, and 1.7 steals, so almost 2 steals per game on 47.5% shooting from the field. A humdrum 32.9%, nearly 33% from three. So, LeBron James is putting up, like I said, man, a very solid stat line through his 7 seasons in the league, enough for him to rack up some accolades and to rightfully get fanfare more thrown his way, which we'll talk about as we talk about his personal accolades here. LeBron James would take the Rookie of the Year honors in his first season in Cleveland, and then a 6-time All-Star. Only year out of the 7 years that he did not make the All-Star game, just as a point of emphasis, was the very first year, his rookie year, which some have speculated. I'm not speculating. I'm just saying some have speculated that is why LeBron James never entered the dunk contest or participated during All-Star weekend, because he felt some kind of way, naturally, because he was kind of snubbed from making the All-Star team in his rookie year. And, whether that's here, whether that's reality is neither here nor there. I'm just sharing. That's, been the general consensus. He's also a 2-time All-Star game MVP throughout that 7-year stretch in Cleveland, 2-time league MVP in 2009 and 2010, 4-time All-NBA first team selections, and 2-time All Defensive first team selected. So LeBron James, like I said, man, just put up some stellar numbers and racked up some incredible accolades. And so as I talk about those accolades, before I get into, I want to get into like some team accomplishments. But before I do that, I want to hear from a young LeBron James. And so actually, let's dive into, or just get the graphic up here for the team accolades. And I just do want to be clear in saying that the first 2 seasons that LeBron James was in the NBA, his team, the Cleveland Cavaliers, did not qualify they didn't make the playoffs at all. So his first 2 seasons, the team wouldn't even be good enough to make the playoffs. They finished the first season 35 and 47. The second year, LeBron's second year in the league, 42 and 40, which was not good enough. There was no play-in tournament back then. It was just the top 8 seeds from every conference, both Eastern and Western, respectfully, and then that was it. That made up your playoff bracket. And so I want to get into like just really quick sound bites, like a 3-minute video of LeBron James talking, and then I want to kind of touch on some things that he says. But listen to how self-aware this kid sounds. Listen to how, as I talk about him grifting and it possibly, having tarnished his legacy almost irreparably, listen to how his mindset speaks to how he should have known better than to make some of the decisions that he makes. I won't over-explain it. I'll let the clip speak for itself. Let's take a listen.
I got you. How refreshing was it, or how eye-opening was it for you to be a part of the Olympics, going over there to China, seeing the global icon that Kobe Bryant has become, obviously Yao Ming. Yeah. What was that like for you?
It was an unbelievable experience to be over there and to see how they love the game of basketball. I mean, you could tell people how good it was, you could tell people how great it was, but until you really get over there and see how inspiring those kids and those fans are, they don't get an opportunity to see us all the time. Mm-hmm. And to be over there with the USA Dream Team and to see how big Kobe Bryant was and to see how big Yao is, it was an eye-opening experience for myself.
Well, you're the next guy in line. It seems like it's about to be on your shoulders right now. You ready for that challenge?
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to accept all challenges with open arms and try to embrace them.
How big are you right now? I heard you're about 25 pounds heavier than you was last year. Is that true?
No, not 25 pounds. I'm about 20.
About 20 pounds?
Yeah, probably.
What have you been eating? What you doing gaining 20 pounds?
Wheaties.
Wheaties. That's what it is. That's what it is. Are you going to be harder to stop this postseason? Have we seen the best of LeBron James thus far?
No, I don't think so. I think the best LeBron James goes with when I'm out just getting easy baskets, and I think Mo Williams create that for me. Mm-hmm. Delonte West creates that for me by me not having to handle the ball in a half-court situation as much. I've gotten so many easy buckets this year because of those guys' penetration and those guys setting me up. So have we seen the best of LeBron James? I think we will come April.
Comment.
So I'm going to pause right there. That this prevailing notion by present day fans that, and even LeBron himself, as he, will kind of try to rewrite history with his comments about his supporting cast not being good. You know what I mean? Like not having a good enough team, how he had to drag these people into the finals and all that stuff. Like, listen to him in his own words talk about and praise his teammates from back then. He talked about his stepfather. My bad. He talked about Delonte West. You know what I mean? He talks about Mo Williams, who was a very good basketball player. You know what I mean? Mo could like fill it up. He could score buckets and he could distribute. Like Mo was a very good basketball player prior to LeBron James entering the NBA. You understand what I'm saying? So, there was more than just Mo Williams. But I'm just saying, I just wanted to highlight that little part right there because I just find it interesting how a lot of people like to like this. Oh, he had no help. He had no teammates. He had no like Cleveland. Cleveland had some decent pieces around him in his early years. And as time went on, something different began to happen with what he desired to have on his team, which presented the biggest issue. But back into the sound clip. Let's get back to it.
April, May, June.
Absolutely.
It might mean you might have to get through Boston and Detroit in order to do that, even though you're already going through Detroit once.
Yeah. You got to do that.
That's right. That's right. That. So that's what you're saying? That's where you're going?
That's where we're going.
LeBron James in the NBA Finals against the Los Angeles Lakers and Kobe Bryant. Any fantasies about that at all?
Oh, it'd be a good one.
I said, have there been any fantasies about it?
Haven't been any fantasies to be in the finals and be in a Staples Center and the Lakers
against Kobe. LeBron versus Kobe.
I love going against the best, and he's definitely the best. I mean, to watch him every night do the things that he do on the court is unbelievable. So that challenge will be great.
There are some who say that when it's all said and done, that LeBron James will go down as arguably the greatest player of all time. Possibly even greater than Michael Jordan if he's able to capture that many championships. Your thoughts?
Wow. For people to even put me in the same breath as Michael Jordan or Oscar Robertson and Magic Johnson and Kobe Bryant, those guys that has accomplished so much in their career. Wow.
Thank you, my man.
Yes, sir.
And so I wanted to play the rest of that because there's a couple different things in there that happen. You hear Stephen A. Smith. First of all, Stephen A. Smith, we know the relationship between Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James present day is not a very good relationship. But I wanted to highlight how what Stephen A. was doing there is he's just sharing some, hey, the consensus might, by some people is, man, when it's all said and done, you might go down in history as the greatest player. He's doing this thing called forecasting, right? It's what the weatherman does on TV. It's why it's called a forecast. Just forecasting what might come. Maybe it'll come. Maybe it'll happen. 60% chance of rain. 80% chance. You know what I mean? And so I think that for me as a fan, I can honestly say I dislike the forecasting thing because it takes us out of the space of just being able to enjoy what the player is doing in the present, just staying in the moment, not trying to over inflate what they're doing to make it seem like it needs to be anywhere other than where it is. Let the athlete, let the star gradually ascend. And let's just stop trying to make the new guy sing, and we can't make the Weeknd Luther Vandross. It's just, it's not cool. And so I feel like that was a thing that was happening through the conversation, which I understand. I totally get it. However, back to, just LeBron's demeanors. That's the purpose of me wanting to share that, particular sound clip. And then I want to go back into the rest of the graphic here and talk about the other, subsequent years. So when in the third season, rather LeBron's third season in the NBA, the Cleveland Cavaliers would go 50-32, and they would make the playoffs. Finally, in his third season, they'd lose in the Eastern Conference semifinals to the Detroit Pistons. In his fourth year, they'd again make the playoffs, and not only make the playoffs with a similar record, that 50-32, but they would also make it all the way through the Eastern Conference, taking out everybody, and make it all the way to the NBA Finals to face off against the defending champion San Antonio Spurs. They would lose to the Spurs in the 2006-2007 NBA Finals. They get swept 4-0. A very young Cleveland Cavaliers team, very young LeBron James. That was to be expected. It's to be expected. You know what I mean? This is his first go round in the finals. He's only 4 years into the NBA. Technically, this is like his senior year in college because it had been 4 years. You understand what I'm saying? So to have the success that they had that season as a team to make it to the finals was like, oh, okay, cool. You know, we can get behind that. Nobody was saying
Aha!
outside of San Antonio fans, you know what I mean, who just wanted to see their team win. But no, but the media wasn't, and fan base or fans of sports around the globe were not tap dancing because LeBron James had lost in the finals. There was no like,
Ooh, yeah, he lost. Yeah, we're happy and celebrating like.
there was like,
Yo, that was still pretty good that this kid was able to get to this stage so quickly in 4 years.
so it was looked at as such. It'd be like,
All right, young boy, you'll get over the hump at some point. We see you coming.
that's what that was. And so in year 5, which was the 2007 2000 2008 season, the Cleveland Cavaliers would go 45-37, and they would make it back to the playoffs, losing in the Eastern Conference Finals to the Boston Celtics 4-3. So they lose to them in 7 games. A very a hard fought series, of course, but that was to the super team Boston Celtics that contained at that point Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce. You know what I mean? So in LeBron's 6th year, which was the 2008-2009 season, the Cleveland Cavaliers would go 66-16. They would make it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals once again, losing this time as the favorite and number 1 seed in maybe the entire NBA at that point. They would ultimately lose to the Orlando Magic, the Dwight Howard led Orlando Magic 4-2, failing to make the finals to face off against Kobe Bryant, which Stephen A. Smith highlighted in that video clip that I played. That was why I wanted to play that too, is just say, man, like that was a failed opportunity, missed opportunity in that sense for us to see a clash of the Titans at that point being LeBron James versus Kobe Bryant in the NBA Finals. That would have been special. I agree with LeBron James. Man, it would have been something, you know what I mean, to be able to see it. And so unfortunately, we didn't get it that year, and we wouldn't get it ever as the two of their careers, played out. In LeBron James' 7th season in Cleveland, which was the 2009-2010 season, the Cleveland Cavaliers would go 61-21. They would lose in the Eastern Conference Finals once again to the Boston Celtics. And so if you were just take a glance at this graphic as I have it on the screen once again, I could see how it could be debilitating to experience what the Cleveland Cavaliers franchise team and players, fans had experienced in 7 seasons. You go 2 years where you don't even make the playoffs, where there's all this hype and fanfare and like, oh my God, LeBron James. Oh my God, LeBron James. And no, look at him dunk. Look at him soar. Look at him do all these things. It's like, but we're not even making the playoffs. Don't worry. We're coming. By year 3, they make the playoffs. They lose in the Eastern Conference semifinals, second round of the playoffs. His year 4, they make it all the way to the finals. Like, woo, accelerated, a jolt of that adrenaline, you know what I mean, flowing through the body, and you're like, yeah, we're it's up from here, right? It's up from here, and only to have that year after making the finals the next 3 years, in fact, to have second round exits from the playoffs. Losing season once again. Did they make the playoffs? Sure, they did, but they did not achieve the ultimate goal. And how they, were going out also to lose to that super team in Boston, to lose to them twice, and then to lose to the Whites Orlando Magic twice. It's like, man, like Cleveland's not moving fast enough. And this is what happened in reality for LeBron James through the frustration. And that ultimately led to LeBron James was shocked the world by painting himself into one of the biggest villains that I can remember my 40 plus years of watching sports. I don't think I have ever seen a superstar. I'm not even a superstar, a megastar. LeBron James is a megastar. He is a megastar. He's not just a superstar athlete. He's a megastar. So to watch a megastar go from sugar to shit overnight was crazy. It was like,
what are you doing, bro? We fans have such a high and lofty expectation for you. There is a standard that a megastar should set, and you're doing stuff that's not becoming of a megastar.
and that was the problem, I feel like, with this decision. For those who maybe are not familiar, let's hear from LeBron James on what was going on with him at that point.
The answer to the question everybody wants to know. LeBron, what's your decision?
In this fall, man, this is very tough. In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat.
Miami Heat. That was the conclusion you woke up with this morning.
That was the conclusion I woke up with this morning.
And that was crazy. That was crazy. To on live TV, ESPN, and a special 2-hour presentation at a Boys and Girls Club in Greenwich, Connecticut, and to have the kids there and to make all this hoopla about it, you know what I mean? Only to turn your back, or turn his back, as he would be known as doing, to the Cleveland franchise, man. It was devastating to the fans. I mean, fans were so pissed off that they were out there burning jerseys and so forth. I'll play a graphic for you right here on TV, so on the screen you can see it. Listen to what some of these fans were saying.
Peace out.
Witness that, LeBron. They are burning this man's jerseys, T-shirts, everything. Please state LBJ. This group of people is from like some organization where they were really lobbying for LeBron James to stay, man. The fans loved him out there. Taking the clothes off their back to set them on fire. Turn them shoes too. And so I wanted to show, that video, obviously, because I think that it's easy for, for those who understand fanaticism, right? And like fandom, it could be so ridiculous and it could be so crazy. And people can be so emotional because of how they're feeling in the moment about a thing. And it's like,
oh man, like how dare he do this to us?
We feel betrayed. We feel angry because of this fact. We're heartbroken because of this fact.
So the burning of the jerseys and all that stuff it's extreme. It's incredibly extreme. It was almost alarming, to be honest. And I wanted to show that first because it's like, come on, man. Some might be looking at that clip and they're saying,
don't they doing too much? You're doing too much to be sent to Mad Jersey on fire and a fire and all that stuff.
And I can, kind of lean toward agreement in that, but I can understand the expression of anger, frustration, and that the action of setting things on fire, to making a bonfire, this man's or just swag, you know what I mean, with his likeness on it, is incredibly emotional and ridiculous, in and of itself. Easy to cast that as a net over the emotional state that I feel like these fans were in. Not being a fan of the Cleveland Cavaliers myself, but a fan of basketball, I want us to hear directly from the fans as they vilify LeBron James after he vilified himself with this decision. Let's take a listen.
It's absolutely ridiculous. I ran Please Stay LBJ. This party is because of our organization, and we've supported him for 7 years now. And for him to go on there and drag us through the mud for 7 years and stab us in the heart, he deserves everything he gets. I hope he never wins anything in Miami. He is dead to me here, dude. That's not funny.
It was disgusting. What just happened was disgusting. The guy gave up in game 3, and this is what he has to reward us with.
Like, this is terrible. He wants to go to a city. He calls himself a sports historian, a guy who embraces the NBA and knows knowledge about the NBA. And he goes to Miami, where the most fickle fans are? This is terrible. This is the worst thing that could ever happen to Cleveland since Modell taking the Browns away. Bottom line. Bottom line.
He's one of our own. That's what makes it so painful. Art Modell, he was 65 years old. He went away and the Browns came back. LeBron can never come back. He's one of our own. He's from Akron. He has a tattoo of loyalty on his body. And he ignored that to go chase the championship with Chris Bosh in Miami. He follows Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh should be following him. It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. Good riddance. Good riddance. Dan Gilbert will bring us a winner. We don't need LeBron.
My name's Jeffrey LaRoque. I just want to say I'm a big LeBron fan, and this is the worst thing that could have ever happened to me. And I just want to say that I hope that LeBron doesn't win a championship in Miami, and I hope we come back stronger next year and we win the NBA championship.
Next year, baby!
Always next year!
I just want to say I've been a Cleveland sports fan all my life. I went to see Cavs games before LeBron was there. I'll never go back again. I hope the franchise moves. I hope there's no more basketball in Cleveland. And I thought for once in my life, with how much I love Cleveland sports, it would love me back. And that has not happened today. That's all I have to say.
Chicago, Miami, New York, they don't depend on LeBron like Cleveland depends on it. Like East 4th depends on LeBron being there for 6 months. Nothing else brings 30, 40,000 people down to East 4th. When he's gone, half those places are going to close, he screwed us. They built a practice facility in Independence for it to be closer to his house in Bath, Who's going to buy his $35 million house in Bath? Akron? University of Akron? Who's going to buy that? It's garbage.
So, and so I wanted to hear the fan perspective for a reason, right? Because, when you consider, obviously, you can take emotion, but remove emotion from the situation and just kind of listen to the real. Then you hear like, damn, he's one of our own. You know what I mean? Like, how could he do this to us? We've been supporting this kid since high school, obviously, but in the different ways that the state and the different, neighboring cities have come together to do things to placate, like him being here, what he means to the economy of the city of Cleveland, East 4th, then where the stadium is, all those shops, all those businesses, et cetera. When LeBron James pulled out of Cleveland, bro, it almost tanked the economy of Cleveland, because you're talking about jobs leaving. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need as many vendors here. We don't need as many whatever's here, parking attendants, et cetera, because the turnout's about to suffer. And so not just stadium jobs, but like he said, the neighboring businesses that are down there too, the shops that had to close because the volume's not coming through any longer. Now, I'm not saying that to say that it's LeBron James's responsibility to prop up the economy of the place where he goes. That's a lot to put on somebody's shoulders, man, and say, bro,
you need to make your decision based on what you're about to do to the city if you leave.
That's a lot. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that was his responsibility, but I'm saying, again, just painting the picture of what happened as he went from being a darling of a place to all of a sudden being, just a villain. You know what I mean? Like in a blink, a 7-year blink, albeit a very long 7-year blink. But in a blink, he went from being a beloved member of the Cleveland Cavaliers and a thought of hometown hero to being like,
fuck this guy. You know what I mean? Like, man, he is a traitor. He is a stranger to us.
Homie say
he's dead to me.
Like, that's crazy, right? Emotional. But again, I wanted to point that out just so that I could obviously go on record by saying, like, I'm not suggesting that LeBron James should have stayed there just to bolster and boost the economy. I just wanted to point out all the factors of what was happening as LeBron James, was a member of that franchise. But again, he'd make his way to Miami. And so in the 2010 offseason, he decides to join forces with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. Again, something unparalleled that has never happened. Three players, star players in the NBA who were leaders of their own franchises, their own teams respectfully, respectfully, who then decide that
You know what, man? According to the rules, it's not really like it's against the rules for us to do it. The money lines up because of this new CBA. Hey, man, let's all jump on a team together.
like, for the people that will argue, like,
well, you're saying it wasn't against the rules, so what's the big deal?
It's because it tipped the scale of competition. It imbalanced the scale of competition by doing that. This is why no other players did it back in the day. It's not an honorable thing to do. We play the game to compete. And so I want to compete against my peers, not AAU style, join up with them to stack a mob to be the one that guarantees.
This going to guarantee that we win.
When I was growing up and we played ball on the blacktop in the hood, we called it the crush. You know what I mean? If I'm choosing a team and I choose all the homies that can hoop over all the players that can hoop, we got the crush. There's no competition. Players will literally walk off.
But man, y'all got the crush. It's weird. Like, well, if we even do this to ourselves, there's no way we're gonna beat y'all.
So you got to balance out these teams, bro, so that we get good competitive basketball. That is what happened in this situation. The imbalance.
Why
Most people will ask,
did Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh not receive as much flack as LeBron James? And they're just like, everybody's blaming it on him.
and that's because, like I said, it's 3-star players, but there's degrees of stars. There's a distance. You know what I mean? There's levels to stardom, and LeBron's a mega star. Chris Bosh was just like, it's like he's a star, like all-star. You know what I mean? Like all-star level player. Dwayne Wade, same. They can lead their team by themselves to the playoffs, but getting over the hump, they can't do that. And so if we give LeBron James credit for just having a cast of characters that weren't really, that didn't comprise of any all-star players, teammates, etc., or maybe one or two here and there, with an Ilgauskas and maybe a Drew Gooden, Larry Hughes, come on. I'm not sure if Larry was an all-star by the time he made it to Cleveland. But to have a player like LeBron do that, because we had respected his grind and his journey through the 7 seasons in Cleveland, and we'd watched him already catapult his team into the finals. That was just such a thing, bro. That was like,
what the fuck are you doing, kid? You can't do that. You kids can't do it. What are y'all doing, bro?
And so I think that, clearly now that D Wade has been on podcasts talking about,
there we watch Kobe, what a number. I just turned the TV off and I hit up Ron like, man, what's up? We gotta stop Kobe.
And so we understand that it was being done, like I said, from a grifting standpoint. You know what I mean? It was being done to swindle the league. You know what I mean? It's like,
let's guys all get together and like, let's do this thing. Let's do this thing.
And maybe that's because they were listening to, or he in particular, LeBron James was listening to the media talk about him not winning rings and when was he going to win, and maybe he'd succumb to, that kind of idea surrounding it. But at that time, LeBron James, of course, famously would go on to make these weirdo claims like,
not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7.
Not 2, not 3. You know what I mean? Like, and so winning a championship, man, is difficult. It is very difficult to win a championship, clearly, on any level. Nevertheless, the professional level. And, did LeBron James understand it at the time? No, he didn't. Do I hold it against him as most people do? Like,
You're being predicting all this stuff today, and even what?
Like, I don't. LeBron James would take his talents to South Beach, and he will put up very, very good numbers in so doing. 26.9 points a game, 7.6 rebounds, 6.7 assists, almost a block per game, 0.7 and 1.7 steals, 54.3% shooting from the field, a much better than the 33% in Cleveland. He shoot about 37% from 3 in Miami. And so his personal accolades as well, stacked up in the 4 seasons that he was there from 2010 to 2014. They won 2 championships, which I'll get into in detail here in a second. But in 2012 and 2013, he would win the 2 finals MVPs for those championships that they won. He won league MVP 2 out of the 4 years that he was in Miami, and also 4-time 4 times he made it to the All-Star game, obviously being selected, and 4-time All-NBA first team selections as well. And so I wanted to get into, again, that list of personal accolades, and to highlight the fact, obviously, that LeBron James didn't go to Miami and become a bad basketball player. He was still a good basketball player. How the team fared is the biggest headline, I feel like, of LeBron James moving over to Miami after stabbing Cleveland in the back on national TV and departing from his hometown team. But let's get into the team accomplishments here, where in his first year with the Miami Heat, they finished 58-24. They lose in the final, shockingly, to the Dallas Mavericks. Everybody understands the meltdown that LeBron James and no shows basically that he pulled. I won't even get into any of that stuff because, again, it's not a slander video. I just want to make a case for, kind of some of these decisions and what happened as a result of the decision. That the decisions weren't even as favorable as he would think, except in the following season, if his goal was to make it to the championship and to win a championship. Well, he finally accomplished that in the year 2011-2012, where in the 2011-2012 season, rather, where the Miami Heat would go 46-20. As I was doing the research and compiling, the data for this episode, I didn't even remember that the 2011-2012 season was a shortened season because of the lockout. It was like labor disputes over contracts. And so the season didn't start until like December, like mid-December or so, when the NBA season finally started. And so the Miami Heat will walk away with the championship that year. I'm not going to say there needs to be an asterisk put beside that championship because, when these 3 players assembled, Voltron in Miami, the expectation was solely that they were going to beat everybody. That was the expectation. We were just like, yo, it's no way they're losing. They're going to beat everybody. And so they won it in 2011-2012. LeBron's third year in Miami, they would go 66-16, which was a 2012-2013 season. They'd win back-to-back championships. They defeated in the first title run the Oklahoma City Thunder. Very young Kevin Durant led Oklahoma City Thunder. And then the subsequent year, they'd take out San Antonio 4-3. So LeBron James in 7 games got a chance to kind of redeem himself from his very first finals loss 4 years into the NBA. So by his 7th season, he beat, alongside his teammates Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh and everybody else, the San Antonio Spurs to take their second title, LeBron's second title, D-Wade's third title, franchise's third title as well. In LeBron's 4th year, the 2013-2014 season, 4th year in Miami, that is, the Miami Heat will go 54-28. They would lose once again in the finals to those same San Antonio Spurs who came out the following year.
Like, fuck 7 games, won't kick ass in 5.
Gentlemen swept this Miami team that, like I said, the expectation was that they would win, that nobody would beat them. And it's not just me as a fan or me as a basketball pontificator or somebody who's giving opinion to say that, oh, they should have won, or I thought they were going to win. We just heard LeBron James on the video that I, from the pep rally say not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6. Everybody thought that they would be as a mob constructed, like they would just be unbeatable. There's no way anybody's going to beat them. Like, how? And so they fumbled that bag, and or over the course, I'll say, of LeBron James being there in Miami, obviously a whole bunch of things are happening. D-Wade's declining a little. The LeBron James is still feeling bad about, having left Cleveland. He's won some championships now. The championships perhaps didn't hit like he thought they would. You know what I mean? Like, he's happy to have won them, but it's like, man, like D-Wade's declining. The team's, upper management, and we're finding out Pat Riley's taking his ice cream and cookies from him on planes. You know what I mean? It was just a tough situation for him, maybe. I don't know. But I like to believe in my mind that LeBron James, has a bit of a heart. And, ultimately he wanted to make amends with the Cleveland, fan base and his home being Ohio. And so, during the 2014 offseason, LeBron James decides to return home, La Homecoming. And he returns as sort of the prodigal son. It was very it was very heavily covered in the media that LeBron James had returned. People were so excited. They were finally talking, good about him again.
Like, man, after making yourself the villain, he's been the most hated. It's just good to see him return home to make things right.
And the expectation wasn't just that, he's returning home. He had instantly in that moment started to say,
hey, man, look, like that Andrew Wiggins pick, that number one guy, we need to get rid of that guy. Let's bring in Kevin Love.
LeBron James started pulling strings at that point to partner up, obviously, to pair rather Kevin Love, he and young Kyrie Irving out of Duke, who had, recently joined the Cleveland Cavaliers also. So he was trying to, use his influence and his power to say,
man, get me this person, get me that person. Let's keep this winning train going.
Do I fault him for that? No, I do not. But what I'm saying to you is that is still a decision to go back to Cleveland, a decision to have them wheel and deal this person for that person, still plays into this whole grifting idea now that he's this win, this thirst to win now that is still like just pull some moves to do it and not build organically to do it. That the ingredients of him having done that already started to seep over into the rest of his decisions for the remainder of his career, which got him into this grifting onto another team. He had grifted back onto the Cleveland Cavaliers to do so. And, you know what I mean? From there, obviously, we could talk about his personal accolades, his overall, stat averages over that 4 years in his return back to Cleveland: 26.1 points a game, 7.7 rebounds a game, 8 assists, almost a block steal, 0.7 and 1.4 steals on 52.6 for shooting, 35.1% shooting from three. And so LeBron had returned back to Cleveland in his prime. You know what I mean? Like he was clearly cranking on all cylinders. He wasn't averaging as much points as he did before, but more mature to distribute, a little bit more to his teammates and to rebound, etc. I'm still at the same clip. So in that 7-8 rebound and assist range, but he was a different guy, clearly a bit more mature, which, spoke to kind of how he had developed himself in Miami as he learned, quote unquote, to win down there in that environment. And so let's get into his personal accolades in that 4-year stretch, his second stint in Cleveland. They'd win a championship in 2016, which I'll get into here in just a second. He'd also win Finals MVP during that championship run. He'd win an All-Star Game MVP in 2018 while back as a Cleveland Cavalier, 4-time All-Star during that stint, and 4-time All-NBA first team selections. And so, again, LeBron James is still out, doing the thing as a megastar in the league, still, impressing everybody, still raking in the accolades, still showing up and playing on a high level. He was doing what he was supposed to do, right? Or what was expected of him in terms of his personal accolades, personal accomplishments, and personal achievements. But while he was doing so, the team wasn't necessarily, meeting the success that they had expected, but it's a process. And we understand that, right? First year back home, the Cleveland Cavaliers in the 2014-2015 season would go 53-29, losing in the finals to the Golden State Warriors. They will subsequently, over the next 3 seasons, see Golden State again and again in the finals. They lose in that 2014-2015 finals 4-2. LeBron's second year in the finals, they would go, meaning Cleveland, 57-25. The Golden State Warriors, who they faced in the finals, had won 73 games. So they had eclipsed the Jordan Bulls 72-10 mark by going 73-9. Many, I guess, kind of, well, if you just look at it from a numbers, in terms of record standpoint, like falsely, I feel like attributed that Golden State team to being the greatest ever or blah, blah. I'm just like, not even close. But, I'll leave that up to you to do your own research and to, look into that for yourself. To see how that team would have stacked up against legacy teams, namely like that Bulls team that I spoke of. But they would beat the Golden State Warriors, coming back from 3 games down to, or 3-1 deficit rather, to take that finals in 7. So, that was the sole win of the Cleveland Cavaliers as LeBron James had returned. That gave a lot of hope. Obviously, in his second season, like
He always brought his winning ways to Cleveland, home from Miami. And so Leah's, let's get some more of that going.
And his third year, they go 51-31. They lose in the finals to Golden State. Gentlemen swept 4-1 because Golden State was like,
oh, that's how we plan.
And they added Kevin Durant. And so again, much like LeBron James had laid the blueprint through his decision to go to Miami, Kevin Durant saying,
well, my man, I'm a free agent. I'm just going to go and join Steph with him. I'm going to join Steph and Clay. Brown did that. It was okay.
And Kevin got dragged for doing it. Much like LeBron had gotten vilified, Kevin was just like, whoa, folks were saying, because Kevin was thought of to be like a megastar back then. It was just like,
what are you doing, kid? Why are you doing that? You just had your team in the finals. You know, you guys are on an upward trajectory. You don't have to do that. You could just stick it out. We're here with you. We're rocking with you. We know it's going to take some time for you to get over the hump. But that adversity builds character. Let it build your character. Don't take the easy way out.
And he did so, and he got vilified for it. Oh boy, Golden State. But they were incredible. So they beat these Cavaliers in the 2016-2017 season, 4-1 in the finals. They come back the subsequent year 4 for LeBron in Cleveland, or in his second stint. 50-32, the Cleveland Cavaliers would go. They would lose in the finals, embarrassingly, 4-0. And so that was LeBron's tenure back in Cleveland. And so as you just kind of look at, I just want to kind of look at the 4-year outlook before because I want to give some flowers to this championship, because it's not something that you just gloss over. A championship's a big deal. So I want to dig into this championship here. But, I want to look at the overall picture here. As you can see the graphic on the screen, 3 of the 4 seasons they were there, clearly that LeBron had returned to Cleveland, rather, they didn't win a championship. Can those seasons be considered failure? I don't think by a long stretch, because at least they made it to the finals, right? At least they made it to the finals. That counts for something, except it doesn't count for anything. It doesn't actually count for anything. So it's almost gives credence to like that argument that people will sometimes give, like,
LeBron made it to 10 straight finals and 9 straight finals. Oh, well.
Whatever. It's just like, yeah, but he didn't win. And so the same energy for these can be applied to that. It's the same thing. They didn't count. Those are heartbreaking. Those are failures. Those are failures in the finals on the biggest stage. You did not bring home the trophy. You failed. And, the one that they actually did win, like I said, coming back from a 3-1 deficit, as we can look, endeared LeBron James back into the good graces of fandom everywhere. The sports media, even, and legacy media on TV, even. Everybody was just like,
yo, LeBron did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he brought a championship back home. He returned home.
It was just such a beautiful story, kind of a narrative playing out there. It was just like,
bro, that's all right. LeBron James left this team, and then that's his home team, and he went back to make it right, and he made it right. That's all right. Way to go, LeBron. You know what I'm saying? Way to and you beat Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors, who were already a championship team. Like, man, way to go, bro. You did good, LeBron.
That Cleveland championship was a big deal. Like, that was a big deal. That championship was a big deal. I mean, I'm not just saying it was a big deal. LeBron James himself thought that it was a big deal when he said this.
That one right there made me the greatest player of all time.
For
That's
so
what
many
I felt.
reasons.
I was super, super ecstatic to win one for Cleveland because of the 52-year drought. Like, I was ecstatic. Like, obviously, I showed that the first wave of emotion was when everyone saw me crying. Like, that was all for 52 years of everything in sports going on in Cleveland. And then after I stopped, I was like, that one right there made you the greatest player of all time. Everybody was just talking how they were the greatest team of all time. Like, they was the greatest team ever assembled. And for us to come back, the way we came back in that fashion, I was like, you did something special. That's probably one of the only times in my career I felt like, oh, like you did something special. I haven't really had time to really like sit back and think, but that was a moment.
Crazy.
And so, the city of Cleveland again, had LeBron on their shoulders again, carrying him around. They loved him. The state of Ohio, you know what I mean? Maybe the entire Midwest. I don't know. Chicago, Milwaukee, Indiana. But folks were extremely proud and happy and excited for LeBron, right? Like happy to see him do it. And so I want to get into just a bit of a clip here, just, where it highlights that celebration, man. So you can just hear how the crowd's cheering and LeBron's emotion and all that stuff, because it matters. It matters, especially in the context of this episode, because again, we're talking about this journey that he's made up into this point to get him, to have him lose for 7 seasons in Ohio, and then to leave and go to Miami and win, and then have a heavy heart, want to go back home to make it right, and to have finally achieved the goal that he wanted, which was to win and bring the first championship to Cleveland sports in 50 plus years of a drought. And so the celebration was the celebration.
And Cleveland, this is for you. Oh,
LeBron, you did what no other team had been able to do, coming back from a 3-1 deficit in the finals. And to do that, you had to win twice in a place that proved too much for so many teams. What did you find in Game 5 here?
just locked in. I had to change my approach a little bit on how I approach the game. I wasn't that good in the first 2 games here in this building. I watched a lot of film, detailed it out, changed my blueprint, and was able to put together some spectacular games after being down 3-1. History, we're in the record books. We're the first team ever to come back from a 3-1 deficit. This is special.
We'll see you in a few minutes on the podium, LeBron. Mike.
Thank you, Doris. One of the great storybook endings in all of sports. LeBron James came back home to deliver a championship to his hometown. He fulfilled his promise tonight with a spectacular road performance in the fourth quarter to win the championship.
Incredible. And so again, like that was a moment, man. That was a real moment where, LeBron is excited. He's emotional. The fans are excited. They're happy. It's that time. It's like,
at least we have our guy back. We'll get, some more times to just kind of run this back, repeatedly.
Now there was 2 seasons after this championship where they ran it back and then were met with that.
Oh man, we didn't get it done. Well, we made it to the finals at least, but maybe next year.
And then the plug was pulled from the maybe next year because, well, unfortunately, LeBron James would make a weird ass decision to leave Cleveland again, to leave them again in favor of going to Hollywood. And LeBron James would take his talents to Los Angeles, chasing glory in LA for whatever reason. And whether that's financial or whether that's because, as they were saying at the time in the media, like,
it's his movies. He wants to do movies, and he wants to do Space Jam, and he wants to do his commercials, and he's got his companies that he's building out there in a production studio.
And like all this stuff that has nothing to do with basketball. Has nothing to do with basketball.
She shouldn't just look at his business like.
I'm not, business talk is not lost on me. I'm doing videos on YouTube, but I run businesses outside of YouTube. I get it. But my point is, the leaving of Cleveland literally put him back in the good graces or put him back in the bad graces of sports media and fans all over again. It's like, bro, you just redeemed yourself and then you ruined it. You ruined it all over again, guy. What are you thinking, man? So LeBron James painted himself into being, like, in my opinion, like a bit of an NBA problem child at this point. He's just like this unruly kid. He's going to do whatever he wants to do, however he wants to do it. Did he break any rules? Nope. Is he ring chasing, team hopping, grifting all over the place? Yes, he is. Because at that stage of his career, still a good basketball player. I'm not saying that he wasn't, but he signed a 4-year, $154 million contract, as the graphic states here, or shows, in LA. It's like, man, go get your money, bro. Go get your money, bro. I'm not saying that he shouldn't go get his money, but what I am saying is that decision is it's messing with his reputation. It's messing with his legacy. It's messing with the perception that people have and shape of him. And so that grifting, it came at a cost, and it paid off for the Lakers, of course, but they get a 26.6 points of production out of LeBron from the 2018 season to present day. Nearly 8 rebounds, 8.1 assists, 0.6 blocks, 1.1 steals on 51.3% shooting and 36% shooting from three. So the Lakers got their money's worth. They sold tickets, they sold jerseys, they've done all these things. And so, you know what I mean? Like, how's that a bad thing for LeBron? I'm still waiting for you to tell me, like, how that's bad for LeBron. And well, LeBron's a basketball player on a basketball team who is coming in with this fanfare, this air of being a winner, and he's going to bring championships to LA. It's the goal. And it was this thought that we're like, where LeBron goes, championships follow. Championships follow. LeBron would rack up some accolades, including an NBA championship in the 2020 season while in LA, the bubble championship, which there's a whole bunch of hoopla about that ring having an asterisk beside it because it's just not a legitimate ring. Tournament style, AAU style doesn't count. There were no fans there. It's not the same. Most will argue it was during the pandemic. People's minds weren't even there to focus on family members passing away, family members being sick, what their families doing while they're away from them. This wasn't a typical situation where, like,
come on, bro. Basketball players are on the road 41 games a season. Like, what's the difference of being away from their families then?
It's like the difference was that there was an actual pandemic that was killing people. People were dying left and right. God rest all those that we lost, during. But that was such a different kind of a thing that focusing on basketball was probably not the thing that anybody should have been focused on. I appreciate the NBA coming back because it gave us something to watch. But it wasn't the same. Seven-time All-Star since he's been in LA. And of course, with the exception of this past season, 7 appearances, only 6 times did he actually participate in the All-Star game. 7, so I'd say 7 selections, because last year he was selected, but he did not play. 1 NBA, he was a leader, assist leader in 2020. The team will win an NBA Cup championship, the inaugural NBA Cup in 2023. LeBron will win the NBA Cup MVP in that same season. I just said honorable mention that he became the all-time leading scorer while wearing a Laker jersey, but obviously his cumulative stats from like all the teams that he played for, getting up to this point of the fourth quarter of his career. All those accolades are, cute, you know what I mean, obviously, but the full scope of LeBron James's career, in LA tells a different story. And I mean, it tells an accurate story. It's not something that really requires too much context. Like, it is what it is. The first season in LA, the 2018-19 season for LeBron James team, will go 37-45, and they did not qualify for the playoffs. They did not make the playoffs at all. Second season, they go 52-19. They'd win in that finals, the 2019-2020 bubble finals during COVID. So the COVID ring. And after that, his third year, 42-30, team would exit in the first round, losing to the Suns. That was the year that the Suns would make the finals themselves. In the fourth year in LA, the 2021-2022 season, they'd go 33-49 as a team and not qualified for the finals again. Not qualified, so they didn't even make it. I'm sorry, they didn't even make the playoffs. They didn't even make the playoffs in the 21-22 season. By his fifth year in LA, the 2022-2023 season, they would make it all the way to the Western Conference Finals, and they would lose in a sweep in the Western Conference Finals to the Denver Nuggets. LeBron's sixth year in LA, the 2023-2024 season, the team would go 47-35. They would suffer another first round exit to the Denver Nuggets. Those same Denver Nuggets that swept them in the conference finals year prior would beat them in the gentleman's sweep 4-1. And then this previous postseason would see, or the previous season would see, the LA Lakers go 50-32 and exit the first round at the hands of the Minnesota Timberwolves, who beat them in 5. And so, if you just look at it for what it is, that's 2 seasons in LeBron's 7, this season coming up will be them entering into LeBron's 8th year as a Laker. But in 2 of the 7 seasons, they did not even make the playoffs. At least 5 remaining seasons. Well, one, they won the championship. Okay, cool. Let's put that one on top. And then, well, another one, they made the Western Conference Finals. Like, okay, cool. We'll put that one next. Or we put the championship first, Western Conference Finals, and then how do we stack them? We say first round exit, first round exit, first round exit. Yeah, it's not a good look. Yeah, it's a really interesting career, or resume. I feel like that LeBron James has had out here in LA. And again, that leads into like this whole grifting onto another team thing. He brought that same behavior and those same habits, I feel like, over too, because while he was there, Anthony Davis is a clutch client. The homie Rich, him and LeBron, they had this clutch agency that say LeBron doesn't have any financial stake in, but we'll watch how that switches when LeBron James steps out of the league. But they brought over Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis forced his way out of New Orleans to become a teammate of LeBron James, and then they would win subsequently the championship in the year 2020. They win nothing else before Anthony Davis was dealt this past season to Dallas for Luka Doncic. So man, the Lakers are all about, like getting the star in. They know that they have the dinosaur, like he's on the way out, and so they had to get another star in there. They got rid of AD, who's brittle bones, he's always hurt, and they know LeBron James on the way out the door. So let's bring in our next guy. So they used AD as the piece to get them another megastar. And in doing so, again, I just wanted to point out that LeBron James's tenure in LA just, hasn't been very good. But, again, to talk about that championship, because we have to give the championship some credit, we have to give it some respect, and it's proper respect. I want to get into what LeBron James said on the podium as he, celebrated the 2020 bubble championship.
Want our respect. Rob wants his respect. Coach Vogel wants his respect. Our organization want their respect. Laker Nation want their respect. And I want my damn respect too.
And so, LeBron has wanted his respect. And I wanted to play that clip because I want to highlight the fact that obviously they won the championship, but I also want to, I want to put some emphasis on what he's saying there with the respect. To at that stage of his career in 2020, having been in the league 17 seasons, to be saying, I want my respect is crazy. It's crazy that you would have to say it. And he has to say it because he hasn't been moving respectably. And because he hasn't been moving respectably and how he's gotten even to that point of being in LA winning another championship, he's got to be like, I want my damn respect too. And, again, it's a consequence of the decisions that he made, man. That's like, you know what I mean? You can't throw a stone and hide your hands. That's how I was taught growing up. And so for LeBron to do that, and to move the way that he's been moving, grifting onto, another team, just grifting from team to team, it's really weird. You know what I mean? And it has looked weird optically. He hasn't been able to get people in the media not to speak about it. People now in the independent media space not to speak out about it and to call a spade a spade. He hasn't been able to get people to wrap our minds around or warp our minds into believing.
No, no, it's all good. It's okay.
Like, it's not okay. And, speaking of grifting, he had locked himself into a $52.6 million contract, or a huge contract over the last 2 seasons. One which, obviously picked up a player option here for just leading into July, I want to say. And, when he did so, I was kind of shocked because I was just like, damn, why is he locking himself into this $52.6 million, taking this money? He could just possibly like restructure his contract so they could bring in some more people. Like, I don't know, this is weird. But, what do I know? LeBron James agrees to his player option for $52.6 million. Now, once again, as I've said in previous episodes, I'm not saying don't get your money. Get your money, man. I feel you. But like y'all don't got enough out there in LA to compete. And so if you still got more gas in the tank and you still have, like conceivably enough to contribute to a championship run, And wouldn't you think that like the time will be now to do that? So just saying the organization needs to get it done, but when they don't have the money to do so, I've already made these points. What I'm saying, that was my stance, right? And so, you know, the day after LeBron James made that statement, you know what I mean? Like, here you go. We have Rich Paul, coming out with a statement of his own saying, or releasing a statement to say LeBron wants to compete for a championship. Now, I'm not going to read that whole thing. I'm not doing it again. I just wanted to highlight the graphic because, again, it fits the thing that I'm saying here. Like, so you want to win a championship, but you took the money, and you know what I mean? Like, so what do you do from here? I think that was, there's been this whole thing with like leverage play, that LeBron has no more leverage at the stage of his career. The grifting has caught up to him at this point. And the message that the Lakers have sent to him at this point is like,
hey, bro, the jig is up, right? This is it. We're locked into you for another $52.6 million, but after that.
And so the grifting, unfortunately, I feel like, has put LeBron in a place where, his legacy is taking a hit because of how his career has to end based on how he has moved all this time. He does not have a home. LeBron's like a homeless megastar. He's like a homeless great. It's wild. He's just sojourning around the league. He has no place to finally do this farewell tour where the fans can celebrate him and be like, yo, that's our guy right there. Like, he's everybody's guy. You know what I'm saying? He's like everybody's guy. He doesn't have a home. He can't get that Kobe Bryant send-off that he was probably thinking he would get because he watched the send-off that Kobe got in LA. And he's like,
yeah, I'm gonna go there, bro. They did up for him.
Like, now the message that LA is sending him is that
won't care where you end it.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
we appreciate your service.
And again, it has him in this space, man, where again he's just kind of floating. But it's, an old saying that says, you know what I mean? Like, you made your bed, you gotta lay in it. And so that's what LeBron is doing, bro. He's laying in his bed. And at this point, it's released on social media just yesterday. I was seeing, these pictures going around or in the last couple of days, as I've been working on these on this episode, that LeBron James is posted on his social media where he is in the Clippers, the LA Clippers workout facility, like training. What? Huh? Bro. Come on, bro.
Now, bro, I just heard it's got state-of-the-art equipment, and it's real nice over there because Ballmer just built it up, and I just wanted to go over there, man. You know what I mean?
Like, come on, bro. The Lakers have a workout facility already. And so this is a mockery. I feel like that, you know what I mean? LeBron's doing this emotional stuff because, LA's not moving the way that he wants them to move at this juncture of his career. And he's making a mockery of himself. It's disgraceful. Disgraceful, yo. It's disgraceful how he's moving right now. It's unbecoming of a star player. It's unbecoming of a great. And, it's unfortunate, man. So the swindler has done a number on his own career. It will be interesting to see how it ends. I have no idea how this is going to play out, but man, I'm here for it. Will he end up on another team at some point, over the next year or so to force an overtime situation of his career, basically? Because like I said, Cleveland the first time could be considered the first quarter, and then Miami second quarter, Cleveland again third quarter, and then now in LA fourth quarter. Maybe LeBron will force his way onto some team, or maybe he won't have to, man. Maybe he'll just play out this season and the Lakers will decide to re-sign him to another 1-year deal, 2-year deal, or something like that so he can finish out his career in LA. Or maybe they'll just, bid him adieu and part ways with him. And we'll see LeBron James end up in somebody else's uniform to give some semblance of a stellar farewell tour, which it doesn't seem likely. Poor Bron, man. But he did it to himself. You know what I mean? Like, I just felt like he missed an opportunity to create the best storyline around his career. And instead, he swindled it away by grifting onto another team. So that has been the basis of this episode, man. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Like the video if you haven't done so already. Subscribe to the channel. I will catch you guys in the next episode. Take care of yourselves until then. Blessings.